Dave, do you know Dave?
I know a few Dave Williamsons, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Dave Williamson. They were talking about the sunglasses story, which, by the way, I want to hear your side.
I've cleared that up. Which Dave Williamson is this?
Dave from Miami.
I've cleared this up. I rang her up.
You talked to her?
I rang her up, yeah.
So, okay.
The day after I spoke to you about it.
Because here's what happened.
I was angry about it, but I rang her up. I sorted it all out.
Oh, do you want to talk about it?
I can talk about it.
I don't even give a fuck. I always thought it was so interesting because I told you the story when we were doing some storytelling show, and I thought you'd think it was funny.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, I don't find that funny at all. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then I was like,
well, because it wasn't what I heard. That's not what happened.
Really?
But it is in... Okay, the girl that told the story, I'm not going to name her name, but...
I don't mind naming her name. I don't think she cares.
Well, yeah, I'm not here to... my fans can be cunts. And,
okay.
You know what I mean? I don't want them to... don't get that as a soundbite. My fans can be cunts. Anyone can be cunts. We've all got the ability.
Yeah.
No, what happened was, I was at the Punchline... You were the first person to tell the story, and I've heard the story about 5 times since, mate.
Really?
And that's why I was getting a bit shitty about it. Because
I only told it to you, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I never, she told it to me, I told it to you, and then I was like, and then I realized you weren't cool, then I was like, oh, I'm not going to tell it to anybody.
What?
And then Dave Williamson told it to me, and I went...
Who's Dave Williamson?
Dave's Forrest's best friend.
Oh, okay.
I don't know Forrest, but I know that Dave and Forrest are good friends. Dave told it to me, and then you texted me, and you're like, I know who it is. And I was like, God damn it.
Oh, no, that's right, because Forrest did some investigating for me
to
find out.
Yeah, and I was like, why wouldn't I go? In my head, I was like, I don't know Forrest. But I go, why wouldn't... I go, just tell me Jim wants to know. I'll call Jim in a heartbeat. But I was like, I felt like used. I felt like Dave and Forrest had teamed up to use me, and I was like, oh.
No, Forrest said, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to figure out who it was. Because I thought it was, for a while there, I thought it was another girl, and I was always quite curt to her. And it turned out she'd done nothing wrong to me.
You did? Didn't you do at midnight with her?
Yeah. I thought it was another person. I thought that's the sunglasses bitch.
That's the sunglasses bitch.
What happened was the Punchline in Atlanta.
And I will say this. I'm going to start this off. I actually feel like you are more misunderstood more often than anyone I know.
Oh, all right. Well,
I feel
what
like,
they're saying is a lot of people think I'm an asshole.
No. Well, no. I know that you got into a fight with one of my friends one time, and I was like, I remember calling my friend and going like, he's actually a great guy. I don't know what
else did I get in a fight with?
Cowhead.
Oh yeah, Cowhead. Yeah, well, I didn't get a fight with him. Me and him are made up as well.
Yeah. But I called Cal.
I got into a fight with his mate.
Yeah,
his sidekick
Galvin.
mate, Galvin.
But I told Cal, I go, trust me, Jim Jefferies is solid as fuck. I was like, I've known Cal for 15 years.
No, me and him are made up.
Yeah,
we're all right. Me and him.
Yeah.
He actually was very nice. He wrote that he saw even when we were having our feud, he wrote that he saw my special, and it was very funny.
You're easily one of the funnier fucking dudes working right now.
So what happened was I was at the Punchline in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And I get picked up by the owner of the comedy club. I've got my suitcase. I got all my shit. I've been traveling, not all day, but I've been traveling to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And the guy picks me up, and you know when, like, I always prefer to just be picked up by a car service.
Yes.
Because then when you or just one of the bartenders picks me up.
Give me a bartender who doesn't want to fucking talk, or give me a car service. When the owner picks me up, I'm always like, okay, it looks like we'll be chatting.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna know that I'm drunk.
Yeah, it feels like work already. Now I came in the night before my first gig. So if I start on a Thursday, I've come in Wednesday night
to do press the next morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've come in, probably landed at like 8 o'clock or something. The guy drives me up and he goes, hey, I thought we were going to the hotel, and he goes, oh, we're going to have to stop by the club. I got some things to do or whatever. I got the club to take care. And I'm like, all right, yeah, you're not going to argue. I just come out to this country as well. I wasn't in any states. Go, just take me to the hotel.
But you were coming in to do a theater.
No. I was just coming into the comedy club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just coming into the comedy club.
Okay.
Right? This is 6 years ago or something. I was out here for one of my month-long stints or whatever.
Okay.
Right? And so I'm coming out to do the comedy club, and he goes, we have to stop by the club, blah, 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 blah. He goes, there's not many people there, et cetera, but it'd be really cool if you could get up and do a set, right? And I'm like, I don't know, and then, but it's the owner, I'm all willing to please, and I'm like, sure, yeah, okay, I'll get up and do
By the way,
set.
this story is completely different from the one I heard.
Yeah. I'll come in and do a set. So I rock up at the club. I'm already grumpy, right? I've got my suitcase I'm still wearing my sunglasses because I'd been flying all day. I left when it was sunny, right? Yeah. And I go in, and then he waves the girl who's on stage off. And then she comes out to the wing, the MC goes on. I have an interaction with her that I don't really remember, and I'll tell her version of the story afterwards. So I'll tell her full version, so there's full disclosure. I leave all my stuff in the dressing room. I get up and do a set. I come back out. I'd left my sunglasses on the table, and I go, where's my fucking sunglasses? And then I was like, because you can see that dressing room door from the stage.
Yeah.
And I know that no one went in there or out there. Now I'm still like, can I just get to the hotel? Now I'm just sitting around the bar with a big suitcase.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I went, it was only two people who went in the dressing room. It was this one and this one. And I asked her to look in her bag, and I looked in her bag, and sunglasses, and she went, oh, I must have picked them up by accident. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about it ever again. I suspected that she stole them, but you got to take people on face value.
Yeah.
And I went, all right, no problem, no harm, no foul. I got my sunglasses back. Excellent.
Yeah.
And then I went about my life. Right? Then I hear stories back from you now. The story that she has, and I've spoken to her like 4 days ago.
Okay.
So I can tell you the exact story because she told it to me from her point of view.
And it's the same one I said?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
From her point of view, I came into the club and demanded to go on stage, which is not. Ask any. I don't want to work. I'm not one of these guys. I'm not one of these guys who shows up at the Improv and waves and then goes on for an hour.
Right.
It's just not my. I'd rather plan a gig and do it. I don't like spare of the momenty things, and I also don't like doing 10 minutes anymore. I'm not particularly good at it anymore. Yeah. So I've never shown up to a comedy club with a suitcase. I'd always want to go to my hotel. I'm not so desperate to get stage time that I'm like, fuck it. You know what I mean? So in her eyes, I demanded to get on stage. Then when she came off, allegedly in her, well, this is her version of the story, but things can change. I put my bag and I put my sunglasses on the table, and I said, watch my sunglasses. Now, I don't believe I said this. I believe I would have said something to the effect of, but also I'm a little bit spazzy in the brain. Sometimes I got one of my friends always tells me when I'm in shops that I'm really rude to the storekeepers and stuff like that. I don't mean to be, but I'm like, how much is this? Right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm going, excuse me, shopkeep. I was wondering, you know what I mean? That's how I'm, in my mind, I talk like that, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, I'm going, how much?
Yeah.
Right? So
you're like my wife.
Yeah.
My wife thinks she's being polite to people. I go, you just treated that woman like a bitch. She's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I can't. My girlfriend pulls me out. I can't see it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. In my mind, I said, and I believe that I probably said somewhere in between what she thinks I said and what I think I said. Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I think I said, my stuff's all right back here, right? You're going to be back here. Something like that, right? Because there's a very open door. The audience can walk in. I said something like, "I can leave. You're going to be back here, right? I can leave my stuff here, right?" That's what I think I said.
Yeah,
which is still fairly rude, right?
No, that's not bad.
But she thinks I went, mind my sunglasses, which it took me an hour to find them. If I said mind my sunglasses, she would have been the first person I would have come to when I lost my sunglasses. It just stands to reason that I would have gone, "You're in charge." Right? So anyway, she felt so slighted on the whole idea that I came in, stormed in. She was headlining. I don't know where she was at in her career or something, but you know when you're getting your first...
She was featuring...
When you're getting
not everywhere, but it was her first headlining
When you get your first headlining gigs and a thing, I know that can be very important to you and stuff like that. Believe me, I never wanted to go on stage.
Yeah.
I never asked to go on stage. I was basically told to do the gig. I did. Then she goes to the owner of the club, who I hear at that time was her manager.
Yeah.
And then he, as club owners, she goes, why the fuck did he go on? And then he felt a bit panicky and he went, oh, he just asked to go on.
Yep.
You got to learn in this business when the bigger acts ask to go on. You know, he did a bit of that bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Which we've all been told when we're starting out, that we got to be respectful to the, you know. And so she stole my sunglasses as some type of revenge or something. Now, I'm all for misunderstandings, right? But how do you have a story where your sunglasses are stolen by someone and the person who steals your sunglasses is the hero and you're the asshole? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm the fucking asshole.
She called me
Yeah.
from the green room.
Right.
She called me from the green room. She goes, I'm in Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm walking around. It's late.
Yeah.
And I just got done my show, and she calls me. She goes, Jim Jefferies? I go, yeah, he's great. She goes, yeah? I said, yeah, he's awesome. Why? Are you working with him? She goes, no. I said this fucking incident. And then she tells it. She tells it like you said, like that misunderstanding way.
Yeah.
And she goes, and he told me to watch his sunglasses. And I said, okay. She goes, and I go, no, it's probably a misunderstanding. It's cool. Why? What did you do? She goes, I stole his sunglasses. I go, oh, I'd definitely give those back. She goes, I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. I feel like I'm already out. I don't like, but she was saying it, like you said, from the misunderstanding point of view.
She probably rang then from the point, because I was looking for him for about an hour, and I knew something was amiss.
Yeah.
And it's not even that big a deal, a pair of sunglasses, but it was just someone screwed with me here. And I was a bit, you know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting to hear your side of the story, because that is actually what has happened to me a number of times. Is you come in, fly into the Miami Improv, they pick you up, they take you right to the club, and they're like, do you want to go on? And you're like, ugh. And you don't realize that you're like, yeah, because you want to be cool.
Yeah.
And you get put into a situation where another comic sees it like you came in. It's like
straight off the plane.
Like tell whoever's on stage to wrap it up. The big dog's coming in.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not what happened.
No.
Yeah, and so it's so funny because I told you the story thinking that you would find it funny, and you're like, who the fuck was it? Like, yeah, that bitch stole my sunglasses. Because from your point of view, it really is. You really kind of were victimized.
Yeah. I didn't want to be there. I got my sunglasses stolen.
Yeah.
I just and so I rang her up. I first friended her on Twitter, and we're all cool now, so I'm not speaking ill of the girl. I rang her up, and I went. I said I first direct message on Twitter. I said, look, I just want to fucking smooth this out. I think she thought I was ringing up to go, fuck you fucking, which I wasn't doing. I just wanted to explain my side of the story. And then she wrote back to me she goes, I just want to talk about the sunglasses thing. And then she wrote back to me, she goes, when you told me to watch your sunglasses and devalued me as a human being. And I'm like, that's the incident, yes. And I rang her up. I said, look, and then as soon as I said, I didn't want to go on the club. And then she went, oh, that changes everything.
Yeah, it really does change everything. In her eyes, I think she thought that but that's not.
But also in her eyes, everything I said in the dressing room when she came off is tinted with assholery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so even if I said, can you watch those for me or something like that, it's pretty dicky, but it's not the worst thing in the world you can say.
No,
right?
not
but
even
if
close.
you've just waved someone off and then gone, do this for me, that's a bit cunty. So everything I did after that seemed extra cunty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was just, and then I'm like, these people fucking hate me. I don't even know why.
Do you feel like that? So you guys are all cool?
Yeah, we're fine. We're completely fine.
It was a big bummer in my head after I talked to you about it, because I was like, damn it. I was like, she's so cool, and she's Jim's